Welcome back to Just Giants with Grump and the Cranky Fan, the best damn podcast for the best damn football team. I am your host, the Football Grump. With me, as always, is Mike, the Cranky Fan, and it is cut down day.
3 times in 6 days, everybody. You must be getting sick of this, or it means it's time for the season to start. So we predicted this. We made our 53-man predictions last week at 4 o'clock today. That initial 53-man roster came out. Let's evaluate and see how close we were, any surprises, and what needs to be done next.
Yeah, so this is what the Giants released for the 53-man roster. So we're just going to jump down here, start with the offense. The offense, by the way, there's only 24 people. They initiated a trade today, which we'll get to later, and they are saving a roster spot for him. QBs, just 2, Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor. We thought that would happen, right?
Yep. We had DeVito probably ending up on the practice squad. We touched on this last episode. We don't think anybody's going to pick him up, right?
No, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
This was interesting, though. 4 running backs were taken, but surprisingly, it's Barkley, Breida, Brightwell, and Gray. Now, I know that they like him for special teams. I would even tell you that I think he's shown more in his time here as a running back than Gray has already. I think he has, value, but this was just kind of shocking because everybody had him cut. He got no snaps for so much of preseason.
Yeah, and our thinking was we both didn't have him on our projections. Was that you could basically get the same guy for a year younger from what we're really expecting from him. So that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, and I thought if they would keep 4 running backs that it would be Corbin over him.
Same. That's who I had.
Now, as we go through this is just kind of strange, but it might make more sense in the coming days. This might be a situation where this roster is going to shake up over the next couple of days. It's not going to stay the way that it is. They're going to pick some, at least we think, or they're probably at least maneuvering to potentially pick up cut downs from other teams. So they might be thinking something like Corbin will be easier to stash or something like that, and so they keep Brightwell on the roster only to cut him later and use that roster spot for an offensive lineman or something like that. That's totally possible.
Right.
So not getting too crazy, but still that was just a little jarring.
Right, and we kind of were baking in when we were making our predictions that would be, another one of this roster spot will be from a cut down or something. So we know that this is a work in process.
Would you say that Brightwell is probably among the first to be cut if there's a waiver claim pickup?
I would think so, for sure.
I would think so.
Absolutely.
He's got to be 50 through 53. He's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, and he knows something. He might know that already too.
Sure. Yeah. Tight ends, they went 3. Darren Waller, Daniel Bellinger, Lawrence Cager. No shocks.
Same.
They did place Chris Myrick went to IR. We talked about that yesterday. He had a broken hand. And Tommy Sweeney was placed on the non-football injury list for his medical scare at practice. I don't know. He might be activated from that later on. It's kind of a safe place to store him at, though, while he gets sorted out. So
it's not the reason why you want to be on that list, but
no, but it's
looking at bright sides of things that might have helped him get on this team later on.
Yeah, exactly. Wide receiver, only 6.
Yeah.
Some surprise here, but again, we knew a lot of this, right? Wan'Dale Robinson was activated today. That was rumored a whole bunch coming up in the last week. Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt, Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard, they make the team. Cole Beasley was cut. Jamison Crowder cut. Colin Johnson's, David Sills, Mickens, Pimpleton, all cut.
Yeah, I thought that Beasley would make the roster, and I discussed why in the last episode. But apparently they thought they could move on without him. So I am not going to have a sleepless night tonight about it. But no surprise.
I think he'll be on speed dial throughout the season.
I think someone's going to pick him up. That still might be my prediction. And hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, you would definitely, because we're assuming with this that, oh, we'll have these 6 wide receivers throughout the whole season, no problem. But of course, somebody's going to get hurt, and yes, it'd be nice if we can, you know, go on speed dial and pick him up and bring him in. He's a fast learn. He spent a summer or late part of the summer learning this offense. He can be a plug and play if necessary.
Yeah, and it's funny because all of the guys, the criticism of the Giants having like 100 slot guys, isn't the criticism for every single slot guy they have high injury rate? There's Sterling Shepard, Paris Campbell, I don't know about Jamison Crowder, but Wan'Dale Robinson at least already, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Why not have like 5 people that know the offense?
Sure. I mean, this room might look radically different in week 14 than it does right now.
I would think Jamison Crowder is another one that they'll keep on speed dial. I don't think he did anything wrong in the preseason to get cut. I just think that he was the oddest man out. I think that because of his age, though, he might have a chance of catching on somewhere else also, though. I mean, he's younger than Cole Beasley, so I think he has a better shot, but I don't know that he's as good.
I think, just the rising tide of this room where everybody was better than they have been the last year or 2 years ago, where, the last guy cut last year, the year before, probably wasn't going on an NFL roster. But now that the overall talent in the room is better, someone like him, even though he was a cut, may get picked up somewhere else. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I would think that both of those guys will be on speed dial this year, hopefully.
Yeah, and also just because they may get picked up by another team does not mean that in 7 days, 2 weeks they are back on the street again too. We're talking about people that are fringe roster spots at this point. So that doesn't mean just because someone signs them, he's going to have a 13-year career with the Broncos after this.
Right.
It could be 13 minutes.
Offensive line. A little bit of a shakeup here. Not much, but the main guys: Andrew Thomas, Josh Azudu, Ben Bredesen, John Michael Schmitz, Mark Lewinsky, Evan Neal, Matt Parrott, Marcus McKeithen. Shane Lemieux sneaks on. I thought that he was pretty fringe. I guess he's going to be the third string center or something, and then kind of like a swing guard. But Tyree Phillips cut. I thought that was interesting. I mean, we mentioned that none of the depth linemen were particularly great. So I guess nothing is too surprising, but he was far from the worst.
I thought that Matt Parrott's time was up, and I had him cut, and I had Phillips being kept.
That's
so
right.
I was wrong on those two.
Well, I mean, I had them both staying. I actually had us with 10 linemen. I just had Phillips in there, but man, I'm pretty surprised. I thought it would be Matt Parrott as well. He looked downright ugly in that last preseason game too. I mean, it's against backups as well.
I mean, I guess, it's one of those things where, looking around what might be potential cuts in the rest of the league, that, the grass may not have been greener for a swing tackle, and they may not be expecting much of anything out there. So I don't know. Again, will Matt Parrott actually be on the roster
That's what I was going to ask you next.
When that Cowboy game happens, I hope not. I hope they are, dumpster diving, doing whatever to try to, make better of that roster spot at that position, because it frightens you, it frightens me. I'm sure it frightens everybody associated with this this franchise, the fragility of the state of the tackles. So.
Here's what frightens me, honestly, here. I think he has to be here week 1 because, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I think that both Shane Lemieux and Matt Parrott are roster spot, and they're in that 50 to 53 area as well. I think they're both, one particular roster move away from being gone. But that being said, I don't know that you can even get rid of Matt Parrott that quickly. I mean, week 1, Evan Neal was how many weeks away from a concussion? I mean, if there's a mid-game issue at tackle, you can't. I mean, can you really expect any kind of success bringing a guy off the street? I guess he'd be here for 2 weeks. He'd be able to do something for you.
2 weeks, yeah. It's not like the first game is this Sunday, and we're talking about this when it's not like the old days, So.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'd like to say it couldn't get worse than Matt Parrott, but it absolutely could if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's kind of assuming they're trying to go with the assumption that it's not likely that Evan Neal is either banged up again or something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
I think it's some. I think right now he's purely a placeholder, and if they can find something better, they will make the move. And if not, and again, remember, it might be 2 weeks to get ready, on this team, but whoever they're picking up probably was a cut down from another team, so that means they were at OTAs.
Yeah,
They
it's
were
not
at,
like the other thing too is that like if we're picking up somebody else to replace him, it's not like you know
he wasn't hauling ice
yeah,
2 weeks
it's
ago
not
at the
Joe
gas station.
Thomas either though.
Right. It's
It,
true.
teams aren't cutting Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
We are getting another waiver guy. So either way, it sucks. I don't know.
Well, again, let's put it in reality check too. If you have to go to a backup tackle in this league, it's
Yeah,
still a backup tackle. I mean, when you lose your starting tackle to injury, there's going to almost in every team in this league, you're going to have a
problems.
decrease in quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's gonna have to be an off-season focal point again.
Hmm.
Looking at tackles,
Well, I
probably
mean,
in the second round. But
I would say most teams are always keeping their eye out for at least increasing their backups anyway.
you know
So
my position. I'm always looking at offensive line every year. You can always build
Mhm.
it. So
Sure, you can always improve it.
it's 5 spots. Average NFL career is like 4 years, isn't it? So
Well, I
you
mean,
could pick one every year.
really, I look at it as kind of 10 spots, to be very honest.
Yeah, true.
You need that depth. We've been the recipient of having a bad rash of injuries for the last 86 years. So, just as soon we're penciling Andrew Thomas to be in the Pro Bowl, we may be having a backup left tackle the whole season. It's just the way.
You knock on wood, sir.
Oh yeah, but it's it's not an impossibility. It's not a probability, but you never know. So that's why you need to be prepared.
That's why I always choose Trojan. Defense. Defensive
God.
line, they stuck with 6. DJ Davidson makes the team. Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Nunez Roches, Ashawn Robinson, Jordan Riley, and DJ Davidson.
I didn't have Davidson. I had 5, and I didn't have him.
Yeah, I thought that he might be able to just sneak on the practice squad or something like that. I think Ryder Anderson had some kind of, he might have went to IR or something like that. He has
I
a
believe
triceps
so.
injury. I didn't track every single move, but yeah, I know Ryder Anderson. They still probably like. Into the edge room. Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojolari, Jihad Ward, Isaiah Simmons. Baldonado was cut, likely practice squad guy. O'Shane Ximines was straight up cut. Are we shocked about any of these? No, right?
No, I mean I had Zimenez making the roster, but I also had it circled on my
Yeah.
sheet here, so I think that means as light in pencil as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I did think that there was a chance he would make the team. It's one of those things where he does add some level of pass rush presence for a Wink Martindale defense that I guess there's a package where you can toss him in there and get some production.
He feels like the defensive version of Shane Lemieux for me. It's just like there's some sort of intangible that maybe I'm missing that the coaches like, and you know they're cockroaches that kind of survive cut day and the Turk, and they're just still here.
Here's my thing, is that he doesn't do anything decisively. Like, it's not that he is without talent or that he's a bust or whatever. It's that too many times I see this thing where he is not sure if he should be rushing the quarterback or dropping into cover. And I don't mean like assignment-wise. I mean like an on-his-feet thinker. He's not an on-his-feet thinker. He just kind of goes at the pass rush with a lot of speed and a lot of effort, and he tries, but he doesn't, he gets sacks. They're usually just cleanup sacks or something like that. But in that, he has other things where he makes big mental screw-ups right up in the middle of the field. If a quarterback's rolling out of the pocket, he has this thing where he's not sure. Like, am I going to rush at him, or am I going to drop back? And it's been pretty embarrassing at times. And he's also bad against the run. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to cut him, but he does offer some kind of pass rush presence. So I could see it happening.
He's not a rookie anymore, and those things you should, it should be instinct what you're doing. And if he's still processing, what is this, year 3 for him, year 4? It's, you kind of are what you are at some point.
I think he was 2019. I can't remember if he was 2019, 2018. I think he was 2019.
Okay, so we're long enough to be, not a green rookie anymore. That you should be, like I said, muscle memory alone, where you need to be on the field, and we're seeing too many things that rookies make mistakes on.
And that was always my thing, is that he was a guy that you take a chance on in the middle rounds of the draft, and he's still where he was as a rookie. So it's not like it was a bad draft pick. It just didn't work. Happens. And it might catch on somewhere else. I don't know.
I mean, for a guy that hung around 4 years, I don't know if you could call that someone who didn't work. I wouldn't call him a bust. It was just kind of like he ran his course. He's
That's true. Yeah.
Standard issue draft pick that just kind of came, did his thing, and moved on.
And we're going to get to... should we jump right into Carlos Basham?
Let's do it.
All right. So, I mean, I think these two things fit right into each other here. O'Shane Ximines out, Carlos Basham, and Boogie Basham. Trade with Buffalo. We don't know. I don't know if we know all the terms yet. I believe there was also a swap of picks involved in 2025, not 2024 picks. But I don't know that we ever got those details.
No, I was searching around. I saw the article, 2 articles about it. I didn't see what we actually gave up for it. So I guess it's TBD.
Yeah, TBD right now, but I don't think it was much. So Carlos Basham is not all that different from O'Shane Ximines, but he's different in ways that I think are important, at least from what I was able to see, what I've seen other analysts I've trusted say online. But 6'3", 280, he's got a tweener body type. So like right away, that screams like you have to be some kind of, instinctive god or an athletic freak or something to really overcome something like that. It just doesn't work well in a lot of schemes. So he was a second-round pick in 2021. He has inside-outside versatility, so he can kind of get down there and be a little bit of a big defensive tackle at 280, but he does have really good closing speed for that size. He doesn't have the length or the bend, in my opinion, to truly be an edge rusher. But when he plays sort of that defensive end role in a stand-up fashion, he has a lot of short area quickness where he can kind of do end tackle stunts and get inside, or he can get just do a standard pass rush right into your tackle and kind of work something. The problem is that I don't think that he's a very good polished pass rusher. I don't think that he has a whole lot of counters if he gets stopped. So a lot of his success in the pass rush game, I think, comes from either winning right away, like whether it's with speed in a move or just the speed or whatever, but either winning right away or just effort, because he doesn't give up. He'll continue, but if there's good coverage downfield, he can get there and kind of have a cleanup sack or something like that. But where I think he's different than O'Shane Ximines is that I think he's pretty disciplined in the run game. I think he's pretty good at setting an edge. He doesn't let stuff get around the outside of him. For being 6'3", he kind of looks pretty long. I don't know if he is long, but he seems to stretch out that wingspan and cover a lot of space and force things back inside. And I think when I think about this defense with Wink, and I want to know what you think based on what I just told you, like I think that helps, right? Because we have all these big bodies in the middle on the defensive line. And, we had all these run game issues last year. I know O'Shane Ximines stinks against the run. And I'm not saying that Boogie Basham coming here is going to solve run game issues, but it's a depth piece that is probably upgraded in the right direction, right?
Yeah, I agree. And doing a little research here as you were speaking, he is a year younger. This roster we're still trying to get this roster younger overall, thinking big picture beyond this year, because, we're still trying to, worry about cap issues and things going forward. And if he becomes an integral part of this rotation, you'd like to keep a guy like that a little longer than, let's say Ximines was a year before him. And also it is a swap of late round draft picks. It's nothing more specific than that. This is from what I'm reading here. So we don't know what that means specifically.
I thought I had seen somewhere that they were specifically 2025 picks, but it's been a long day. I might have imagined that. I've been reading a lot of news too. Like it's kind of a flurry of information flying around for half the day.
Swap of late round picks in 2025.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's from Art Stapleton. Yes.
So yeah, I think that he'll be able to offer pretty much the same pass rush that O'Shane Ximines does, but I think that he'll help out in the run game where Ximines did not. And I
Yeah, and
think that also with like Wink's scheme, like the I think there's more likelihood that he can be that stand up guy rather than a hand in the dirt guy all the time. Maybe that's just more his thing.
it just makes more sense just thinking what Wink ultimately wants to do, cause chaos, have
Right.
the constant pass rush, blitz guys all over. That is all predicated on third and longs. And if your rush defense sucks and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 2 or 3rd and 1, it's hard to cause chaos in the passing game.
There doesn't
Get
need
them
to be a passing game. Yeah.
Yeah, get them in 3rd and 9, get them in 3rd and 8. And how does that happen? You stop their ass on first down trying to run the ball. You stop their ass again on second down. You're not a sieve where these guys are just 5 yards on first, 4 on second. So, this defense needed a lot of work in the last couple of years, and I think this is an important piece of this is, getting that run defense under control, because it was unacceptable last year. And that will allow, this defense to pin their ears back more and go, go after the quarterback. So it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a good move. Well, hopefully it'll work out where it didn't work with Buffalo. Linebacker, a little bit interesting, but not really. Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Carter Coughlin makes it, I think, partially as a depth linebacker. I think that he looked pretty good in the preseason, but third string, maybe. Well, third string, yeah, maybe, because Darian Beaver's cut. I think they're probably going to try and stash him in the practice squad. I think, the thought is that he looked a little slow in camp returning from his ACL injury. I got to be honest, I thought he was slow and stiff to begin with. I'm a little surprised that they liked him so much. I thought he was, mid, but that's just kind of my assessment. But I had him making the team. I just know that the coaches like him. Personally, I probably wouldn't have even drafted him.
I did as well. I had him also making the team.
So yeah, it looks like he'll probably clear through and get to practice. I mean, it's not like he has a ton of tape out there. He got his ACL torn, I believe, in preseason last year. He didn't really put a whole lot of game film on there. He got a lot of first team reps in like early training camp. So I don't really remember how many preseason snaps he got. So I don't think teams are going to put a waiver claim on him.
I don't think people are out there salivating over a guy who hasn't played much, hasn't had much film, and has a major injury under his belt. So I think it's something that, to be continued for his story with the Giants.
And Cam Brown does make the team. I think that he's probably the 53rd man.
Yeah, I did not have him making the team.
I'm a little bit sick of hearing about how good he is on special teams.
I know.
Defensive backs. No surprises here, I don't think. Deontay Banks, Adoree Jackson, Cordell Flott, Trey Hawkins, Xavier McKinney, Jason Pinnock, Dane Belton, Javarius Owens, Nick McLeod, Darnay Holmes, and Bobby McCain all made the roster. Any surprises there for you?
Nope, that's what I had.
Yeah, I think McCain, he might be somebody that's dropped at some point, but he is a nice veteran presence back there. Everybody else in the safety room, I mean, the most senior guy is Xavier McKinney, and he's pretty young, so.
Right.
It makes sense, but I think as an athlete, he's probably the worst in the DB room.
And then we also talked about Holmes when he took the pay cut. That pretty much ensured he'd be back.
That
too.
sealed the deal, yeah. I mean, he still could be dealt early on, but it told me he's gonna be here for week 1.
That's a lot of work to do for a guy you're ultimately gonna trade. So.
No, I don't mean trade. I mean he could just be midway through the year. They might just cut his ass. I mean, you don't know.
Okay, you said dealt. I thought you were going towards like it.
Oh yeah, I don't. I guess I didn't mean it like that.
Gotcha.
Aaron Robinson, I believe, remains on the PUP list. I heard literally nothing about him, so I assume that's where he stays. Specialists, Lyons. What's his name? Cameron Lyons or whatever. He got cut. No surprise. That's it. That was our day one day. I expect more moves beyond Carlos Basham being elevated.
I do as well. I think we both did a pretty good job of projecting this. I think we both gave ourselves some flexibility, knowing there'd be some more moves happening. I think Are you a little surprised that there were two deals happened before the cut down? I thought that was a little slightly surprising, I think.
No, I'm not really. I think that a lot goes into a single day cut down, and I think that that's too much to do. I think even logistically, like I think the paperwork to get everything done by the deadline, the way you want to, is an unnecessary frustration. When I think that there is some paperwork you can get done the day before, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think even for some guys, it's considered a decency. You know what I mean? Like you will catch on somewhere else. I'm giving you a 1 day head start. I know you're not in our plans.
No,
Kind of thing.
I was talking about the trades we made before.
I'm
You know,
just saying that's all part of
yeah,
doing business before cutdown day. No, so
yeah.
you mean the fact that they did one at all?
Well, in fact, I guess they had two. I mean, if you consider the Simmons one also.
Yeah, I would say that. So
Yeah.
I think that that's also a product of the single day cutdown. I think this is kind of working the way that undrafted free agents work, right? Like, so undrafted free agents kind of, as a player, you'd rather be that because you get to negotiate how much money you want. And if teams really do want you, they will give you more money than late round draft picks get contractually. That being said, teams use their seventh round draft picks essentially to lock up the undrafted free agents that they absolutely want. So
Right.
this is kind of working the same way. You know, instead of having to deal with the mass chaos of the waiver wire on a single day cutdown, you trade away some bullshit picks. You know, a 2025 late round pick is inconsequential right now.
Sure.
So you kind of just deal that shit away. You ensure that you get the guy that you wanted from a team that just told you over the phone that they're not going to. You know what I mean? Like you've so I think that trades are kind of being used in a way because of that single day cut down and reaction to it.
Let me ask you a question, and you may not know the answer to this, but it's just your opinion. Do you like the system the way it was, let's say, 7 years ago when there were 4 preseason games and
And
three cutdowns?
I think
Was
it was 3 for a long time, and then they made it 2 for like 5 years, and then they negotiated that third preseason game. So
Okay, so my question is, did you prefer the system before when there were 4 preseason games and let's say there were 3 cutdowns, or now where there's just 3 preseason games and one master cutdown at the end? Do you think that does it make a difference to you at all in trying to build a roster, or do you think it was better the way it was before, or do you think now that you have more time, less game film, but more time to evaluate these guys before you make your final cut?
well, I think the first system with 3 cutdowns is crazy. I think with the amount of practices that they're allowed to have now, 3 cutdowns, that first cutdown, I think you're probably not even getting a fair shot for some of those guys. They're getting so few reps that, you know, short of it being only 5 guys, and even then, 5 guys, it might be 5 guys you didn't even get a chance to look at. You know, I don't know. Or make a decision on based on an injury that might be short term or something like that. So I think 3 is crazy. But I did like when you had 4 preseason games doing it in 2. I do think that, and it was like a small amount got axed first. I want to say it was like 10 to 15. And after 3 preseason games, we're already doing, you know, a full roster cutdown. So it's clearly enough time to get a good look at the 10 to 15. And then you have that last preseason game to kind of really get a good look at them. Now that you're down to 3 preseason games, and I'm not against that, by the way. I'm seeing a lot less injuries, at least for the Giants had a lot less injuries.
I'm leading up to another question, so
Well,
yeah, keep going.
I think it's tough doing it 1 day, and it's not a selfish thing for me. I don't really care if all the news lands on 1 day.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter to me. But I think it probably makes it really tough on the coaches. So I don't know. It seems like 2 is a better number.
Do you see a world in 2033 where there are no more preseason games as they are now, and we replace that with these kind of joint practices during the week?
Yes.
Because they feel like dinosaurs to begin with. There's going to be more and more outrage from the public who has to pay for these. You know, these aren't games. These are glorified practices at this point. It was a big story that Aaron Rodgers got on the field, period. So when you have to, and again, the vast majority of NFL season ticket holders are season ticket holders. They have to buy these games. I had to buy 2 of them, and it's just harder and harder to justify, the public having to buy it. And I think these joint practices, I just think they get more accomplished what they're trying to do over a game situation. You're playing more of your ones and ones, your twos and twos. You're seeing more scenarios, real life scenarios. I think it's better evaluation, is better film for the coaches. I really think that the preseason game as we know it is numbered, and I think we're going to go to this kind of hybrid way and be more like the college motto. And not to mention the fact that you said it before, injury risk. I think just less you're playing at full game speed, I think there's the potential for injury goes down.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that there's 3 weeks of training camp and then 3 weeks of joint practices instead of three. And probably ending with, they'll find some way to monetize some scrimmage or something at the end of the week of practices. Or Friday it'll be 11 on 11 ones and twos or something like that.
And that's fine. And there is a group of people who'd want to go pay to see that. Then that's great. But I don't think, holding season ticket holders hostage for, we had to shell out for 2 games that, you and I had zero interest in going to attend, even if we could have. And I've been to 1 in 23 years since I've been living back up here again. And that's the Giants. That's, I bleed blue. So I just think that just also the nature of how training camp is evolving, I just think it's a better format. What's kind of,
I think it reveals more. It does more for the players, and how do you continue to negotiate safety rules and continue to let this go? And the Pro Bowl isn't even a game, and it's so people don't get hurt, and yet you have meaningless games.
So. And look, something the Players Association might be looking at the next time they open up, a collective bargaining agreement. It's the hell with these things. We don't want to play them anymore.
So what's next for us? It doesn't look like there's going to be anything for Labor Day weekend. Maybe some roster shakeup, but I don't know. It's going to be whole episode worthy.
I know I am boarding a plane tomorrow to go to Utah to see the Gators play Utah in it's week 1, but we're playing on Thursday night on national TV. So if all of you are looking for a college team to adopt living in the Northeast, I even join the Gator bandwagon now while we still kind of suck, but good days are coming. So I'll be doing that this weekend and then off to Vegas for the weekend where I am going to be making 2 preseason bets, and I want to know real quick before we go what you think. I'm taking the under on the Jets wins and the under on the Bucks. I feel like both teams are going to be really awful, and I'm not buying this Jet business one bit. I just feel their offensive line is really bad. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers in the whole season, and I think the Bucks. People still think that they just got rid of Tom Brady. That team is going to be terrible. So my money in Vegas is going on the under for both of those 2 teams.
I agree with you on Tampa. I think not only are they going to be bad, I think when they start getting hurt, they're going to be really bad. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I think. I don't know about the Jets. The Jets, to me, are a flip of a coin. I don't even know what their schedule looks like, so I can't even. But what is the line?
The Jets, I believe, were 9.5. I believe. I'll lock that down once I get to Vegas. But it was kind of.
I don't think it's a crazy bet just to bet the under. No, I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah, I just. Aaron Rodgers has to show it to me this year that he's still above average. He's playing with a really bad offensive line. And it's the Jets. I mean, this is exactly the heartbreak that their fans have gotten used to for the last 50 years, where, there's excitement and anticipation, and it goes to shit. And I'm going to profit off of the go to shit part.
Yeah. All right.
That's me.
All right, so then we will be back next week, hopefully with a nice little Labor Day weekend surprise episode. And then we're at the regular season time, baby. We're going to have to get ready for a old-fashioned Just Giants Week 1 preview.
That's right. I mean, if, this little taste of 3 shows in 6 days, it's a little teaser for we get back to our normal season schedule of having shows come out every Tuesday morning and every Friday morning. Tuesday morning, the review of the previous week. Friday, the preview of the upcoming week. So double your pleasure. So you better make sure you're subscribing to us on YouTube and on your favorite podcasting service, because we're going to come fast and furious at you.
That's right. And of course, if you're on Twitter or X or whatever, a good place to follow us. Instagram as well.
All right, I got to say something really quick.
Go for it.
I am putting the end to the, what are we calling it now? X or Twitter?
Oh, I mean, I'm okay.
The fucking thing is X. It's been X for a month. Every goddamn podcast I listen to, it's like X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it now. It's like, we know what it's called. It's X. Everybody, I am ending this once and for all. I'm sick of hearing that. It's X. We are both on X.
That wasn't really a joke. That's just me. I continue to call it Twitter just because I've had it for like 15 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Follow us on there at @football_grump, at the Cranky Fan, at Just Giants Pod, and Instagram as well with all the same stuff. It's going to be a great season, and we're right at the start of it. I'm really, really excited.
We have a big potential episode next week to stick around for. We're not going to reveal it yet, but could be a lot of fun. So follow the socials to hear more information about it.
Yep. So we will see you next week, probably. I just don't know which day yet.
Yeah, just hang tight.
All right, everyone. Until then, go Giants.
Go Giants and go Gators.